Indianapolis, the racing capital of the world. Since 1909, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway has been the undisputed pinnacle of the racing world. This is the place where legends are made and hearts are broken. This is the one race everyone wants to win. For the first time in its 54-year history, the SCCA National Championship Runoffs travels to Indianapolis. With nearly 1,000 entries in 28 different classes, the Runoffs is the biggest auto race in the world. It features the best amateur drivers in the country vying for the title of national champion. One legendary track, one epic race, one shot at glory. The SCCA Runoffs starts now.
And we welcome you back live to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Coverage of the 54th renewal of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs. Final day of 3 days of racing. It's been more than a week for some of these teams who've been here and came to test and tune and prepare, but it's been a wild couple of days of action. Lots of fun for everybody. I'm Rick Benjamin. Dorsey Schrader is alongside Hayward Wagner with our coverage on pit road. Our entire crew from Apex Television, happy to be here with you once again on behalf of the SCCA, and we certainly appreciate your attention today here at SCCA.com. Dorsey, we've got GT Lights coming up. We've got 26 cars, some great competitors, guys, we know in this one that it ought to be a great show.
Many-time national champions in this group. Chris Bovis on the pole, one of them for sure. You've got Peter Shadowin, you got Steve Sargis, Joe Huffaker. I mean, there's a lot of guys in here that have been spending time. Rusty Bell, another one, that many national champions under the belt.
Yeah, exactly so, and we'll talk more about the field here in a couple of moments. First, though, our track map presented by our friends at Mazda. Dorsey, as we've been talking about, 2.6 miles, 14 turns, a couple of really long straightaways.
Very technical track here, too. That 3,700 mile, that'd be a long one. 3,700 foot.
That'd get you all the way home to the Keys, wouldn't it?
Baby, that's a long way. Turn one here is the old Formula One turn one. Is really, really tight. You got to watch. It's technical on that end. The back straightaway runs down into turn 7. That's the second best place to pass the brake zone for 7. That segment back there, the S, is very, very tight, very technical. And then you start to try to get a run going to get as much speed as you can to come onto the front straightaway. Turn 12, turn 13, that's a little chicane that breaks up the speed so you're not going too quick. That being said, this is a real fast straightaway.
It is, and these GTL cars lapping this place around a minute 51, 52 in some cases. Pole lap for Chris Bovis from Lawrence, Kansas, a 150.331 second trip around here. So a little quicker than some of the classes that we've seen in action. Not the fastest class by any means, but GTL usually full of competition and some terrific competitors in our field today. Let's find out more. Hayward Wagner on pit road.
Guys, when you talk about GTL, you are talking about some high-strung race cars. This used to be GT4, GT5 put together in one class. Relatively very small displacement, a lot of RPMs, a lot of compression in these engines. One to watch always, Joe Huffaker. He qualified his car in F production trim with 100 pounds added to meet the GT Lite minimum weight. Now that it's race time, he's switched over to his GT Lite race head, so he will have more horsepower in the race than he did in qualifying. He was hoping to be able to qualify in the first couple of rows so that he could use that horsepower to try to pull his way to the front.
Joe Huffaker, a many-time national champion as well from Petaluma, California. He'll start 7th in that familiar number 77 MG Midget today as our GT Lights field heads out onto the speedway, onto pit road to get set for the one pace lap. We should see the green next time by. 19 laps, 40 minutes of racing, about 50 miles our distance in these sprint races here, in the Corvette pace car taking the field out. Chris Bovis, who is the pole qualifier out of Lawrence, Kansas, in a Goodyear Tires Honda CRX with plenty of help from our friends at Honda Performance Development. Bovis has run 10 runoffs before this. This is his 11th appearance, 8th in GT Lights, 2-time champion. In 2013, Dorsey, you and I were there. The closest finish ever in these runoffs in the transponder, the electronic scoring era, 7 1,000ths of a second is margin victory. I remember that race well over Robert Lentz a couple of years ago.
I actually raced against his father back in the 70s, and I've known him all my life, essentially all my life, and to be a multi-national champion is pretty cool.
It's going to be a good show, we think, especially these top 10 contenders. Bovis in the 78 will be your pole starter. Alongside him, Ryan Christoph from Michigan in the Eibach Honda CRX. That's the 46 car. Peter Ziekert from Maryland Heights, Missouri in the Weisco Pistons Nissan 200 SX. The 45 car starts in third. And then Peter Shadowin, we've talked about him a bunch. He's won many of these titles over the years from West Palm Beach, Florida. The Road and Race Automotive, that's a Honda CRX, the 72 car. Third row, Mark Ward in the 10 from Palm Beach Shores, Florida. The Ward 360 Toyota Paseo. And then Steve Sargis in the 18. Guy that is usually at the head of the class here in GT Lights from Frankfort, Illinois, the Hoosier Tire Triumph Spitfire. Huffaker, we talked about him in the 77, the Huffaker Engineering MG Midget. Robert Lentz from Chantilly, Virginia in the 60 car, starts in 8th spot. That's a Nissan Sentra. Graham Fuller in the 2 car from Martinsburg, West Virginia, the HCP Honda CRX. He starts 9th. And Michael Kamalian in the 99 from Marietta, Georgia, the Revolution Speed Mazda Miata. So several different approaches to GTL competition here.
Haywood was talking about these cars being high-strung. That was a very good word for it, too. They twist the bejesus out of these engines. You know, and you'll hear them, they'll be screaming, but with that comes a reliability problem. You know, they really wring the necks of these cars.
Yeah.
And failures are you know, somewhat commonplace because of the amount of stress you're putting on all the components.
As we watch the field circulate behind the safety car here, we should be lined up and ready to go green. And one of the things you mention and you notice in GT Lights, you think of GT cars being closed cars. Well, open-top cars are eligible in this category.
Yeah, it's a comprised class, if you will. There used to be C sedan, B sedan, F production, G production, and all these different classes. And this is a class with all those different elements to it. Huffaker's car back there, you know, that MG Midget, that's been G production, H production, F production. You can run that, and depending on what engine you run, all over the place.
And Joe, entering in multiple classes here again this year, his 17th year at the Runoffs. 10 in GT5, his 3rd in GT Lights, GT5 national champion 3 consecutive years, 2000, 2001, 2002. Won this race at Laguna Seca a couple of years ago, 2014, has won a bunch of F production national titles as well. Michael Kamalian, another guy who's been very strong in this, the Hoosier Super Tour champion in GT Lights this season. The 78 of Bovis, the 46 of Christoph on the front row, ready to go racing in GT Lights. Glad to have you with us, and we are underway at Indy, in trouble right out of the gate. One of the contenders apparently with an engine problem. That's the red machine. That should be Christoph in the 46.
Wow, as soon as he got on the throttle, it went up and smoked big time. It's still smoking.
Still pulling, though, down the front straightaway, and Christoph looks like he's going to take,
trouble.
His lead lasted about 10 feet there, down into 1. That may be a hose off.
Well, and that's a very good point. It could be a hose off, but in any event, it's leaking something pretty big to have that much clutter out there.
Christoph off the pace, realizes, well, hey, back on it a little bit, and the smoke seems to be dissipating, so I wonder if something's burning off in there.
You wouldn't think so, not as much as it was there. When he floored it, it went seriously up. I think you were really good on your first guess at the hose.
We'll see what happens with Christoph in the 46, that Honda Civic CRX, off the pace, but still in the mix here in the top 10 in the first half lap or so at Indy. Meantime, Chris Bovis in the 78 car, that's the blue machine. That's another Honda. He is your early leader here.
If he is leaking something, nobody's going to be wanting to be behind him.
Yeah.
You know, it's off the right side more than the left. It's still doing it. Whatever it is, it's going to get it.
Keep your eyes on the 72 of Peter Shadow, and always a contender here in GT Lights. That yellow Honda CRX up into 3rd right now, started in the 4th position with Christoph's problems. He's moved up a spot, and then behind him you've got the Triumph Spitfire, Steve Sargis there in the 18 car. Huffaker also in the mix.
Corner workers reporting the smell of coolant. That would back up your theory on the hose and or radiator, something like that. Whatever that is, it will be terminal soon. Oh, and Huffaker just had a big moment down there. I don't know if they made contact. I think he caught it.
That's the 46 car, outside pole starter, Ryan Christoph, with problems coming to the green flag.
Somebody's on pit lane. I assume it's that car. Yeah,
it is. It is. So Ryan Christoph, unfortunate for him, mechanical issues coming to the green flag, and he will not complete one lap here today in GT Lights. Bovis is your leader, and a battle for second. Shadowin in the 72, the yellow car, trying to get around the Nissan Sentra here, the Nissan 200 SX of Peter Ziekert.
Joe Huffaker back there trying to break the draft on a couple cars that were trying to work him over. He dropped back. Everybody behind that car that was leaking fluid had to go defensive.
Yeah.
They had to get out from behind it real quick.
Well, explain to those watching and listening, Dorsey, when you see that kind of smoke billowing, and my first thought, I'm sure yours was too, engine, and he would be off the pace and maybe stack up a lot of cars. He didn't oil the track down, and he was able to stay kind of at speed down the front straightaway.
Well, when it kept going, you realize that it is going to be a hose or it's going to be something along that. That's way too much smoke to be just burn off or any kind of, pickling of the pipes or anything. So if you're behind it, you get out from behind it quick because it was leaking something and it was leaking a lot of it.
You got to hate it when your pipes get pickled. That's never good.
That's true. They run water in most of these coolant systems, but they use a additive. In some cases, like Red Line Oil runs water wetter, which is a lubricant to the water, but it keeps it from being antifreeze, because antifreeze, when it goes out there, it's caustic, first of all, and secondly, it's the most slippery thing known to man.
Oh, yeah.
Except maybe a goose.
None of those seen around the racetrack here in Indy this week, by the way. I want to give a shout out here to the 15 car. That's Paul Mavoli from Treasure Island, Florida, and that Nissan Sentra. He's right there with Joe Huffaker. Remember, Huffaker started in 7th spot. Mavoli lined up in 12th, and he has been on the move here in the first couple of laps.
Love those Huffaker cars. For how many years have they been black like that? And there is no cleaner, prettier car produced anywhere than a Huffaker car. I mean, they are absolutely stunning, beautiful cars.
Joe in the 77 up to 6 with the retirement of the outside pole starter Christoph, but Mavoli in that 15, he's on the move. He's up to 7th spot now after starting 12th, so he's gained 5 positions here in the first 2 laps. Move behind him, though, another car on the move. Mark Ward in the 10. That's another Nissan. He swings to the inside and picks off a spot.
Got a really good run down that front straight, long front straightaway. So if you've got any advantage horsepower-wise, it's going to show.
A couple of the Nissans doing battle for position here. The 14 car right behind them, Charles Leonard in 9th position right now. As we watch the 15 of Mavoli and the 10 car of Ward fight it out for position.
Peter Zackert, buddy of mine, up to 2nd place. That's a great run from him. Started back a ways, not that far back. He had a really good qualifying, actually, but for him to be up to 2nd place behind Chris Bovis, those are both Midwest Division cars. Peter Zackert out of St. Louis, where I used to live, and, of course, Chris Bovis is out of Kansas.
Down the back straightaway here, Joe Huffaker up behind that Mazda. Michael Kamalian in the 99 car there. Hayward Wagner, what do you see on pit road?
Guys, one of our contenders in on pit lane. You saw the smoke, went down and looked when they pulled the bonnet off of that car, and it's the valve cover gasket. It's the gasket that goes between the valve cover and the head. It has pushed out about an inch on the very front of the car, dumped oil all over the header, which is why you saw the smoke. Those guys are absolutely heartbroken. They really felt like they had a chance to run at the front of this field. As soon as the crew chief pulled the hood off and looked at it, just hung his head. A lot of hard feelings right now in that paddock space.
That's just a terrible deal. You work all year long.
Yeah.
Get the invite. Here you are at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You floor it at the green flag, and pow, there goes the gasket out the side.
It happens in this sport sometimes, but it is one of the more heartbreaking moments that you can have, especially
15,
here.
You know, you're talking about something that costs a couple bucks.
Yeah. And you, as you say, Dorsey, if you've come to these runoffs, you've been pointing to this for a year. This is not something for most people that you think about a week or two ahead of time. I mean, occasionally you'll get somebody who'll say, hey, we're ready, we got a car, let's go and let's give it a try. But for the most part, these are drivers and teams that put everything they have into this and point to this one event.
And he qualified well. He's up front. You know, it's all sitting there right there. The carrot's in front of your windshield. And boom, you know, something like that happens to you.
Shadowing in the 72, right behind the 45 car here of Ziekert. You mentioned Ziekert from the St. Louis area. Chris Bovis, your leader there in the blue Honda, making good time down the back straightaway here. Last time by, he had about a 3-second advantage over this fight for 2nd spot.
I think Chris Bovis's car was built by Jim Dentisi of Honda fame, if you will. He was a past national champion, quit driving, but built cars. I think that is a car that he produced. Knows what he's doing when it comes to those Hondas.
Very famous name in the world of SCCA competition, especially at the runoffs. 4th place car at the moment belongs to Steve Sargis. That's the Roadster there, the red machine that you see, the open top car, the 18.
That car's been around for a long time, too. But Sargis, of course, won in F production, won a bunch of times in a Spitfire back You know, he's got multiple championships underneath his belt as well.
And that is the Triumph Spitfire that he's wheeling here today, that 18 car.
Those have not been produced now since the 70s, I would think, late 70s maybe.
Yeah, finding stock type parts to put on that car, not an easy thing either.
Yeah, same thing with Joe Huffaker. When you look at the MG Midget, that's not been around. And the technologies are different. Those
Shadowing, meantime, going for second spot here.
The technologies are so different. I mean, those are pushrod motors back there in the OMG and Triumph Spitfire. These are overhead cam motors when you're looking at CRXs and the Hondas and the
Nissans and so forth. Yeah. Oh, in trouble there. The 45 locked him up. And contact, there might be some contact.
Got away with it. They got really lucky right there.
Steve Sargis able to get by. I thought he was going to get drilled on the side of that car.
He thought he was too.
So the 45 of Zekert spins going down into turn one there. He lit up the brakes and it went around on him.
Yeah, the back locked up on Pete Zekert and it turned him. Watch right here. You'll see first the lock up at the back for sure, no doubt. Tire smoke at the back, around he goes, and they didn't touch because I'll tell you what, Sargis read that wreck perfectly.
Sargis able to get the 18 around on the outside and move into third spot. The 45 car of Peter Zekert losing third position here. We'll see if he can get fired back up and rejoin the hunt for a top 5 or a top 10 finish. Peter Shadowin, meantime, in the 72 has taken over second uncontested at this point.
And Joe Huffaker shows back there behind Sargis. The black MG Midget trying to run down the Spitfire. These guys have raced against each other for many years in different classes over their tenure.
That should move Huffaker into fourth spot now with the spin by Peter Zekert, who was running third going down the front straightaway. This is a good fight for position here between the 10 of Mark Ward, the 99 of Michael Kamalian. And Kamalian has given up a spot to Ward. Ward got by him there.
Definitely was rear brake lock up on Peter Zekert's car because you saw the smoke of the rear. That's like pulling a handbrake up. Have you ever done that in a car? You get turned around real fast.
Now these cars, these GTL cars, you mentioned it's the combination of a couple of classes that we've seen over the years. I would think brake bias adjusters would be allowed in this class.
They are. Yeah, they are. They should have that in there. And Pete should have had, for whatever reason, you know, he ended up with a lot of rear bias right there. And it smoked the rears right away. And like I say, it's like popping a handbrake up. And when you do that, the back goes to the front real fast.
And sometimes you can adjust the brake bias to, you can make that mistake and kind of forget where you are with the knob or something like that.
Or you could have a mechanical issue too.
Yeah.
Most of those brake bias adjusters are run with a speedometer cable, old speedometer cable, and you're twisting them. And what will happen sometimes is that the speedometer cable will loop. It'll get a big, like a jump rope in it, and then you think you're turning it, but it doesn't necessarily turn, and there's another brake lock up, this time on the front of the 14.
14 car in some trouble going down into the corner there toward the rear of the field here. We'll try to get a car number for you and a name to go with that. Charles Leonard running 11th going down into turn one there. Up behind one of the old body style minis.
Yeah, I love the old style minis. Christopher Copley in that car. Pretty car.
Out of Easton, Connecticut, yeah. Northeast region driver Chris Copley from just about my old hometown. We are where I went to high school in Reading, Connecticut. Reading and Easton share a regional high school.
Got a little body putty on the right rear fender flare, so he's during the weekend had a skirmish with someone or something. I've seen a lot of that.
Yep, his home track, no doubt, my home track, Lime Rock Park in Connecticut.
Been there many times.
Oh yeah. So the 10 of the 45, trouble for the 66 in the beach.
He's in the beach and planted it.
It's Bill Blust, who's running 17th.
Letting them stay there. Yeah, just again gets in too much speed. These short wheelbase midgets, they turn around really quick. By the way, when it gets loose, you better get it stopped quick.
Blust was running 17th in that green machine. Fight here, the 45 and the 10 for position.
Yeah, and the 10, Mark Ward tried to make a early dive bomb type of pass on Peter Zekert, and luckily they didn't come together at the apex.
This was for 5th position. Zekert in the 45. Now, we talked about the brake lock up and the spin. He did get refired, obviously, sitting 5th right now. And you know, as we talked about yesterday on our coverage, you want to get to the podium. You certainly want to win a gold medal if you can. But a top 5 or even a top 10 in one of these classes, nothing to be anything other than proud of.
And Peter's an engineer, so he would have, by this point in time, reached up there and got a handful of brake bias knob and given it a couple of dials to the front, I guarantee you.
Down into turn number 1, the 45 car looking pretty good here in 5th position right now. And trouble there. Well, that's the 66 in the kitty litter, and the safety truck's out there.
Man, when they do that.
Wow. you've got to keep going. And as we heard one of our drivers say earlier today, under a yellow, a local, or even a full course yellow, you really can't slow down much. You've got to try to catch back up to the rest of the pack.
Well, the yellow means, first of all, slow down, but secondly, it means no passing in that zone. And depending on what's going on, if they're waving it furiously, it's be prepared to stop. You see Sargis right now is running down. He's actually making big ground. That car was probably 10, 12 car lengths back before. So I think he is, he's got that car underneath him, and he's running down as the car in front of him.
Chris Bovis is your leader. Peter Shadowin in the yellow CRX in second. But the third place car of Sargis there, the red Triumph, on the move in third. We're hearing that he's chopping into that lead significantly each lap. We've put, let's see, we put 6 laps on the board, working lap 7.
That's a rear-wheel drive Mini. I just saw that because he just lit up the back tires trying to get out of there.
I love that seating position. The old, you're sitting in the back seat there, kind of a center steer modified look to that car. The 44 in trouble as well, and we'll take a look here. That's Joel Hipp, who's been doing this a long time.
That's what Trans Am cars became at one point in time. You were sitting in that quarter window behind the door.
Exactly.
Back in the back.
Hipp was running 15th in that car. Meantime, on the front straightaway here, we'll take a look and see what the gap is between second and third as the leaders whistle by. Bovis, the leader in the 78 car, he's got about a 6-second advantage over Shadowin, who's got another 2.3 seconds over the 18 car of Steve Sargis.
Sargis just had a big slide going down in turn 1, left some big rubber marks. He's pushing hard. That's what it's telling me.
There's Bovis all alone in the 78 car coming up on the incident where the safety trucks are on the racetrack. And there's the gap back to Peter Shadowin in the 72.
That's the most modern car in the field that Shadowin's driving right there. It's closest to a late model, if you want to call it.
Sargis in the 18 continues to run in third spot there. Tough break for Ryan Kristoff from Michigan, who was the outside pole starter, as we heard from Hayward earlier. Head gasket let go on that machine as he was coming to the start there. So.
That's a shame. Sargis is definitely reeling in
Shadowin's machine,
he's gaining half second or better per lap.
Joe Huffaker in fourth spot in the 77, the familiar Huffaker Engineering black MG. And Joe back in fourth, about 7 seconds out of third right now. So it doesn't look like it's going to be his day here in this class at these runoffs.
You look at Sargis's car, though, and that's an old Spitfire. But look, it's got a big wing on the back. So he's actually modified the car to bring it up to more current spec. You look at Joe Huffaker's car, it's still very much MG midget.
Yeah.
You know, in its configuration and so forth. So, and I would think Joe would want it that way because of the purity of it. That's his signature car. It's the prettiest car out there. I mean, if you go look at that car, the paint is incredibly good, detailed. The detail on the body fit, everything about the car is 100%. It's a concourse car.
Yeah, the level of preparation that Huffaker Engineering and Joe and his group put into their cars is amazing. And, you know, and that's, you can do this at a lot of different levels. I mean, you see some of the competitors here, everybody's got their best mechanical package they can bring to this race, no question about it. Some teams put more effort into their body work and in the appearance of the car.
And of course, Huffaker does run a prep shop. They build race cars for people. They built Trans Am cars. They build these type of cars. They've built, and Joe's father before him built race cars for people and was a national champion before him. The name Huffaker in SCCA racing goes back, oh man, long time. I can't remember it not being there.
Sure, absolutely the case. And Joe in the 77 working the inside, the road course portion here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, doing a terrific job as they always seem to do.
They do everything in-house too. They build their own engines. They build their own everything. Every part of that race car is manufactured out there in California at Sonoma at the racetrack.
On the back straightaway, the 77 car in fourth. Fifth belongs to Mark Ward in the 10, that Nissan bodied car. Starting to reel in Huffaker a little bit here. We may have a fight for fourth before too many more laps go by. Working lap 9 of 19 in GT Lights. We'll take a timeout. Come right back with more of our coverage from the SCCA National Championship Runoffs, the 54th edition at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Coverage of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs is presented by Mazda. Driving matters.
Can you feel something without touching it? See something with your eyes closed. When everything is designed around you, the driver, you can. The Mazda 3.
Every stitch is a part of me. All these shapes and designs express our devotion to craftsmanship. I want people to feel our passion when they touch it and when they drive it.
The all-new Mazda CX-5.
And we welcome you back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Coverage of GT Lights. Final day of action here in these 2017 SCCA National Championship runoffs. Alongside Dorsey Schrader, I'm Rick Benjamin. Hayward Wagner with our coverage on pit road. Top three. Well, they're closing the gap here just a little bit. Chris Bovis in the 78 has led from the start. He was the pole qualifier in GT Lights. Peter Shadowin in the 72, you saw him go by in second spot. Last time by, he was about 7 seconds down. Steve Sargis in the 18, a couple of seconds further back in third position. On the backstretch, though, pretty much all at the same time as we see Bovis on the short chute here, heading into the final couple of corners to get to the front straightaway.
Chris driving absolutely like on a rail. No sliding around, no drama. He doesn't have any pressure from behind, so there's no reason to push that car. I'm sure his crew is just keeping him aware of where he's at in relation to the things going on behind him.
In this level of racing, Dorsey, you and I talk about this here, have done in the last several years, certainly, and done it this weekend. It's so important to be consistent in your lap times. A lot of these drivers just struggle with that. Bovis is not.
No, he's doing a great job. And, you know, the other thing is everybody comes to Indianapolis for the very first time ever, so consistency is hard to come by. You don't have any log of data to look back at and say, this worked last time we were here. We're here for the first time, and you have to learn the track, and then you have to learn to be consistent throughout the weekend that you're at, which was hard to do because it was 90 degrees when we got here.
Yeah.
And then, of course, today it's in the 50s, maybe 60s right now, but much different atmosphere, different track conditions when they got here last week early.
Bovis trying a much different line with that car. You could see him not hitting the apex on that last corner, but that's part of the fun of this, is watching drivers kind of search for where their car's happiest at these racetracks. One car off on the right-hand side of the road there.
Yeah, you see it covered there. They're
I think that might be the 15 car. Yeah, that might be the 15 car that was in contention. Paul Mavoli, perhaps. Looks like that might be the car.
Yeah, they got him hooked to a rope, and they're flat towing him out of harm's way.
Yeah, Mavoli. He's falling down through the running order. He was up in the top 10 earlier, but his day ends way too early here. Shadowin in the 72 running second. He had cut a little bit into Bovis's lead last time, had it knocked down to about 6.9. He gained a couple of tenths on the race leader. But at this point, we're past halfway now, working lap 11 of 19. I'm sure Bovis is thinking, hey, I don't need to be building this lead. I just need to be smooth and consistent, hit all my marks, and stay out of trouble.
And one of the things he can start doing is knocking the revs back on that engine. If you say he's been running 9, he can knock them back to 8 and not lose much speed, but definitely help himself as far as reliability goes. In the meantime, if you're not Bovis, you got to keep hammering.
Sargis in the 18 car, the red roadster back there in third position. This is your second place car, driven by Peter Shadowin, the guy who's been a factor in GT Lights and in these runoffs many, many times over the years. Top two are Honda powered. Certainly a shout out to our friends at Honda, American Honda Performance Development. They have more than 100 entries here total of the 950 this weekend. And Honda, one of the OEMs, along with Mazda, Nissan, they bring just a raft of folks, a ton of engineering support, lots of folks from HPD here to help, and not charging for the service, just doing what they can to help their branded cars run up front at these runoffs.
And these Hondas these are a more current tech level car. These are overhead cam engines with multi-valves per cylinder. You look at Sargis's car, his is not. It's a pushrod 2-valve, old motor like Huffer cars, same way, but they have more displacement. The Huffer car and the Sargis car are running bigger displacement than these Hondas, I should say. And but the technology level made such a huge gap from the 70s to the 2000s. You know, what happened electronically and what's happened with in the Japanese motors first with variable cam timing and multi-valves per cylinder and overhead cams. I mean, all those things really came hold in the late 1900s and early 2000s.
Joe Huffaker in the 77 continuing to run fourth. Mark Ward here in the black 10, the Nissan Sentra in fifth spot. Then a good battle for sixth. Michael Kamalian in the 99, that Mazda Roadster, that RX-7, up into seventh spot now. Make it sixth position for Kamalian. Peter Ziekert in the 45, who had problems earlier, got back on the racetrack. Looked like he was maybe going to be able to score a top 5. He's fallen back a bit to seventh. And Graham Fuller in the 2-car, eighth. One of the Mazdas in trouble. Well, the RX-7s with apparently a terminal engine problem. That looks like that's at the end of the main straightaway. Now the driver of the 9-car, oh, he's got an axle problem. That's not an engine problem. He's got a broken axle back there.
Absolutely. Do you see him wiggling the car, see what's going on? You break an axle on one side, it wants to turn the car really hard, and it's driving one axle only.
We saw all the smoke there, and I was thinking it was rotary power issues.
Well, that could be actually him going off in the dirt.
Yeah.
Well, there's some black smoke. That's a rotary engine.
Yeah. Chris Copley, the 9-car, though, that's Jim Gregorius.
It's definitely a mechanical issue.
Oh, we saw the axle on the left side, the rear end moving outside the bodywork. Never a good look. Take a look at it here. Is this battle for position coming down the front straightaway as well. Kamalian in the 99 running in sixth position. Ziekert in the 45 now seventh. And eighth spot there belongs to that Honda CRX. Graham Fuller in the 2-car. Hayward Wagner, what's happening on pit lane?
Guys, I'm with Lee Stanley, who's the chief of the pit lane. You get a lot of camera time, Lee, standing behind me, pointing cars down the pits. What do you guys do here for the drivers?
We just make sure that they're safe, and if they have any incidents, make sure we take care of them and we direct them where they need to go. We take the top 3 finishers down here to you and the 4th, 5th, and 6th finishers behind to Paddock.
Now, we talk a lot about having fun in the sport. We talk a lot about passion in the sport. You got a little bit of a special passion to go in, don't you? Let's show the camera real quick. As soon as Lee's done here, he's got to go get one more inked. Every racetrack he's ever been to, right there on the shoulder.
Wow.
I'd have to have real long arms.
I was going to say, you need a big shoulder for most people in this sport. No question about that, but we appreciate Lee's work. Having a lot of fun on pit lane as everybody involved is here. And you can get involved as well, SCCA.com, where you're watching this coverage today. Check it out. Plenty of information on all the different things you can be involved in. Track night in America. You can go to driving school. You don't have to drive. You can become a volunteer worker with SCCA and participate in these events that way. And you can autocross, the solo championship, rally championship, just a ton of ways you can have fun with cars and be a part of SCCA's terrific membership base.
And it doesn't all have to be expensive either.
No.
You know, you can do, like you were talking about autocross, you can take your street car and pick up a spare set of tires, and that's all you really need, you know, and you learn a craft.
There's a class for you.
There's a class for you, and you learn a craft. You learn from people who are better than you are, and then it makes you better as a result.
Battling for position down through the front straightaway here. Mark Ward in the 10 in 5th position. He's gotten around the 99 of Kamalian. Ziekert in the 45 back there in 7th, and then Graham Fuller 8th in the 2-car. Chris Copley in the 03 is 9th. Charles Leonard in the 14-car is 10th as this battle for position continues to rage here at the Runoffs.
Good run going right here. Nowhere to go with it, but he had a good exit off that corner. Now he's trying to work the inside.
Kamalian in the 99, that is a much breathed on Mazda MX-5, a Miata, with lots of mods to the body and that kind of camo wrap that's on that car. A little bit, it kind of disguises what model that Mazda might be.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's the way they do with the secret cars. When they come out with a new car and they put some sort of funny wrap on it, and you just can't identify what is that thing.
And that's the whole point for manufacturers who are testing new configurations of OEM cars, street cars on the highways. And we saw one this summer in Nashville, Tennessee, of all places. And I thought it might have been a Nissan because Nissan North America's headquarters is right there in the suburbs of Nashville. So it was kind of cool to see that.
And now you got those cars that you can't tell what they are, and they're autonomous, and there's nobody driving it, and it really freaks you out.
Hey, I'm done with that. That is not what we're going to be about in the years to come. I can't think of a worse. If you like to drive as much as I know you do, and I certainly do, and everybody connected to racing does, a self-driving car, that's kryptonite. I'm not having any of that.
Anytime I've been passed by a car and nobody was driving, it makes me real nervous.
I've seen a lot of cars on the highway that appear to be appear to have nobody at the controls, but that's not a reality quite yet, fortunately, I think.
Well, I see more cars being driven by cell phones than people anymore, and that bothers me.
Yeah. Don't get me started. Not a good thing. Distracted driving, that's
not a good thing.
We're not about that here at the SCCA.
No, we're not about that.
on the front straightaway, battling for position. Sargis in the 18 continues to be third in front of Huffaker. Ward there in fourth. There's Steve Sargis. Car off the pace, lap car moving over to let some of the quicker cars get by.
That's Zeckert, who's broken down. He just let those cars go by. Pete Zeckert, who was doing a good job, he had that early problem. I think that was his car. I'm pretty sure that was his car.
Not sure. It didn't look like it to me, but I'm not sure. Zeckert's still showing 7th. We'll see what happens. Here's Sargis in the 18.
I might have jinxed him.
Hearing from up top as Huffaker kind of locks up the brakes there in the 77 car.
Little wisp of smoke there for sure. He's actually catching Sargis in like cars, like aged cars, I should say.
Sargis loses a little ground there to the third place car.
There's Zeckert right there. He's okay.
Bovis continues to lead, working lap 15. There'll be 4 to go next time by. His lead over Peter Shadowin in the 72, 5.5 seconds last time by. And then Sargis another 12 seconds back. So Sargis doesn't look as though he's going to be able to contend for second. Looks like his job in the next few laps is going to be to try to hang on to a podium spot as Joe Huffaker has the whip out. Huffaker can see him now, and he's a great driver.
Huffaker has been driving this car as Steve Sargis has been driving his car for many, many, many years. Although Sargis has updated his car to go to the bigger class and so forth, both of them quite familiar. Those are the mainstay.
For position here, the 14 car, that Nissan on the inside getting by the Mini, the 03 machine.
Of course, Joe Huffaker has a Mini as well. He can't drive both of them at once, but his is a rear-wheel drive Mini, a black one that everybody loves. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe Huffaker is about 6'4", right?
Yes, he is.
So he's sitting in the rear window.
Yeah.
He's so far back.
Yeah, exactly. This is for 9th and 10th. Charles Leonard in the 14 car. And the 03 machine, that's the car of Chris Copley from Easton, Connecticut. And as we talked about, you see these cars, and Joe Huffaker was the guy that kind of got this going. To make the driving position work for you when you put the race car together, the race car version of these Minis, you do move the seat to the back.
Yeah, it's a tube-frame car, so these were originally front-wheel drive, front-engine cars. They're still front-engine, but instead of being transverse-mounted, now they're in line, and they've got a transmission up in the front with the clutch, and then, of course, the rear gear, independent rear suspension at the back with the driver sitting at the back seat, makes it a current, really slick car. It'd be a blast to have one of those on the street. You talk
absolutely.
About a sleeper.
Yeah. Maybe with a small block Chevy.
Yeah. You could, as long as you got short legs.
There you go. Battling for 9th and 10th here. Through the infield road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Check back in on some of the other cars as they work their way through this. There's the 45.
Yeah, he's still good. That's Pete Zeckert. I had the wrong car. Had a similar color green.
Yeah,
on
very similar in color scheme there. But Zeckert sitting in 7th spot behind Michael Kamalian's Mazda, the Roadster that you see up ahead there. And behind those two, Graham Fuller in the 2 car. That's one of the Honda Civic CRXs in the field here today. So right now, the Honda's running 1-2. Steve Sargis 3rd in his Triumph. Joe Huffaker 4th in his MG Midget. Mark Ward 5th in his Nissan. Kamalian 6th in his Mazda. Kind of a United Nations of brands here among the top 6. Laps winding down and GT Lights. Lunch break coming up, and then we'll be back for the afternoon coverage here to wrap things up in these 2017 SCCA National Championship runoffs. The club doing, I think, a great job, Dorsey, taking this event to iconic racetracks. Last year back at Mid-Ohio, which was the home of the runoffs for such a long time. Daytona 2 years ago. Now here at Indy, something everybody's been pointing for quite a while. First trip ever, I guess, to Sonoma next year.
That'll be an eye-opener for a lot of people who've never been out there before. A very technical racetrack, no question about it. And it's also, it's a track that you don't have the luxury, not like here, of going off the road. You go off the road at Sears Point or at Sonoma, and it's a car eater.
Yeah, it can be, no doubt about that. And that track has been changed. It's been altered because NASCAR runs their Cup Series there, and big change to the hairpin. They don't use that at all anymore. There's a kind of a cutoff there from the hill down to that corner, and then you start down through the S's on the back.
We just ran there with Pirelli World Challenge.
Yeah.
We don't use the cutoff. We actually go the old circuit, which I hope
the drag
they do.
strip. Yeah, they will. Yeah.
I hope they do that with SCCA.
I would think you'd have to. I mean, that's the essence of what used to be Sears Point Raceway.
You're
now
right.
is
It's the
Sonoma
personality
Raceway.
of the place.
Yeah.
The NASCAR thing was a version because those cars don't handle all that well and stop that well. So when they first went there, they put that cut through. But
for PWC, for IndyCar, they use the more traditional configuration. Sure. So I would think we would see that for
and nowadays, to be quite honest with you, NASCAR cars have come enough along that they could use that too. They
did originally. I mean, you raced in the Cup Series occasionally at the Glen and that track. And we first went out there. I did that race on radio, on the NASCAR race there in the 80s several times. And that was the configuration. There was no alteration to the course. I mean, that was what you ran in the Cup cars. Back then, those cars didn't turn well at all, but we used that configuration.
It's kind of interesting. Some of the best tracks in the world, particularly SCCA tracks, the most notorious tracks in the world for being good were not designed by engineers. They were designed by farmers that owned the land.
Sure, yeah.
And then the engineers came and screwed it up, which they did out there too.
Well, those tracks don't have a lot of character in some cases.
No, that's exactly. The engineer does drawn tracks. Okay, yep, they're safe. I get it. Boring.
Yeah, as a driver, I've always thought, I always felt like I was having more fun if there were elevation changes.
Yes.
Lime Rock's an example of something like that.
Great example. People complain about the danger of Lime Rock. Well, I've been there all my life.
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
Yep. If you think it's dangerous, slow down a little bit.
Yeah, you always have the option.
Yeah. The 2-car, meantime, trying to get closer to a top 5 spot. This is Graham Fuller in his Honda, running 8th right now. He's right up behind Peter Ziekert to the 45. Ziekert trying to hang on wide in that. Now that seems to be the preferred line entering, because that's almost a 180 there. You do kind of want to enter wide in these cars.
Pretty agile cars too. These cars are very, very sorted out. However, Peter under big attack. He's now within the grasp. I could see a pop out for a pass here in just a moment, I would think.
Get the white flag next time by. Here is Bovis in the 78. He has led all the way so far. He'll have 1 to go this time by to pick up a national championship here in GT Lights. White flag is in the air.
Perfect drive. Never has been contested. There's Peter Shadowin coming on, and it's been like that most of the race. He can see Bovis, but just barely.
Together on the front straightaway. Last time by, this time by, Shadowin dropping back a little bit. Bovis stretching the lead out to 6.3 seconds. This is a good fight here on the short shoot.
Real good fight. Looks like Peter Zeckert's car is good on the infield. However, being chased down, he is not quite so good on that straightaway, and there's a lap car right in front of him.
Bill O'Kell in the 12 car waves them by.
Yeah, that was nice. You saw the hand signal too.
Yeah, now he's running 13th, so that's not a bad day for Bill O'Kell by any means, but he's not able to be up to the pace of the lead cars here.
But as a driver under pressure, I want to see a driver do what he just did, which is give me acknowledgement. Let me know that I know that you see me.
Yeah.
And that's what that hand wave was. That gives you full confidence.
You don't want to have to guess how you're going to get by.
Oh, no, you don't.
The 10 and the 99 still battling for position. Mark Ward in the 10 car, the black Nissan 5th. Michael Kamalian in the 99, the white Mazda going after it here. Inside, makes the pass. Can he hang on? This is for 5th spot.
So far, he's good. He takes that.
Ward tries to over and under on him.
Doesn't make it, though.
Kamalian with a great move on the last lap here.
Held back to the finish and got what he had to do done.
Turn 6 and 6A onto the backstretch here at Indy. Ward comes back at him, a little slide there.
Yeah, he had a big slide there. And there's Huffaker not that far in front. They won't catch him without a mistake with 1 to go, but
4th, 5th, and 6th. This is 5th and 6th still in play, but Michael Kamalian may have gotten himself a top 5 finish here at Indy.
Without a mistake, I think he has, yeah.
He's opened it up by 8 or 9 car lengths. Now Ward, you could see as soon as the pass was made, Ward just lost his, I think he lost his composure, frankly, behind the wheel. Bovis to the checkered flag. Chris Bovis is your winner in GT Lights.
Solid drive.
Flag-to-flag win for Bovis. Peter Shadowin should be next. Come over the line in second. Shadowin will be your silver medalist in this good fight here. We'll track this one for 5th.
It's not quite over yet.
The 99 car of Michael Kamalian taking over 5th from Mark Ward on the final lap over in turn 6. Here comes the 18 car. Steve Sargis will round out your podium. He'll earn the bronze medal in that 18 car. And then 4th will be Joe Huffaker from California.
Never could quite catch him up. And there, of course, is our great battle.
Kamalian in the 99 will get 5th. Mark Ward will have to settle for 6th. I'm sure he's disappointed with that. But on the cool down lap, the 78 of Chris Bovis, the 72 of Peter Shadowin, a 1-2 for our friends at Honda. I know they'll be very excited about this. in GT Lights. So a terrific run here today. Caution-free, 19 laps, 40 minutes of clock time. Didn't take nearly that long to complete it. And we've taken about 36 minutes to get to the checkered flag here in GT Lights. So we will hear from our top three in a couple of moments. And a couple of guys who've been doing this a long time at a very high level. Certainly our congratulations to Bovis, your winner, Shadow, and your runner-up, Sargis, your third-place finisher. Terrific fight and some good battles for position for 5th and 7th and 8th. Peter Ziekert gets credit for 7th. Graham Fuller has to settle for 8th in the 2-car. Chris Copley ends up 9th in the 03. That was the Mini. And Charles Leonard has to come home 10th in the 14. Copley got by him in the last couple of laps.
Peter Shadowin drives up alongside of Chris Bovis, gives him the high five. These guys are friends. They've raced against each other. They've won and they've lost to one another before.
Sure. And that's how it happens sometimes. We've had many drivers tell us that this weekend on and off the air about how, hey, I raced this guy 10 times in the last 2 seasons. Sometimes he wins, sometimes I win. Just depends on the day a lot of times.
And, you know, here we come to Indianapolis. Nobody's been here before. And different tracks favor different cars. Nobody knew what favored anything when they came here. But for a guy like Chris Bovis, come out of retirement, get this car back up and going again, and show up just because it's Indy.
Yeah, exactly. Not the only time we've heard that story this week, as these drivers, for many, and we talked about it here yesterday with some of the other competitors we have seen, guys deciding once the announcement was made that we'd be coming here this year, hey, I'm going to get my car out of mothballs. I'm going to get a new car. I'm going to get my helmet back off the shelf and get my license again and be ready to race at the Speedway. So that's the situation here, and we certainly applaud Chris Bovis in the 78, Peter Shadow in the 72, Steve Sargis in the 18, your podium finishers in GT Lights. And really, my hat's off to anybody who came here to race this week, because it takes a lot of time, a lot of resources, and a whole lot of effort to come
Well, you got to have a lot of hats, because there was about 1,000 of them showed up.
Yeah, for sure.
And that is amazing. That number right there will stick for, I don't know, maybe ever.
That's going to be the target in the years to come.
Yeah.
How close can we get to 1,000 entries? And some talk.
Amazing.
You heard Hayward talk to Doug Bowles, the president of the Speedway, here on our coverage earlier.
Right.
Hey, maybe we'll come back here. Well, Doug didn't certainly rule that out. Former, probably still a member of the SCCA, doesn't compete at this point, but we had Formula V in his background, which I didn't know. I've known Doug Bowles for a long time. Didn't know that was part of the case. He's a real racer. I mean, Doug Bowles is one of the real racers that you encounter in this industry. Talked to him when we were at Sonoma a couple of weeks ago. He was just out there watching, and he said, hey, is there a dirt track running tonight? So,
yeah. We do that. We all do that.
Sure, absolutely. So the winner in GT Lights, Chris Bovis, the driver of the 78 car. Great effort for that team. You see the fenders there, some carbon in that machine out of Lawrence, Kansas. The JDM Motorsports entry, and Hayward Wagner is there to talk to our national champion in GT Lights.
Chris Bovis, you've won at Heartland Park, you've won at Road America, and now you've won at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
I can't believe it. I really can't. I mean, we've everybody's worked so hard on this car since June. It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable.
Talk a little bit about this drive. You were able to get a little bit of a gap, and then did you go into conservation mode?
No, actually, I ran almost qualifying times the entire race. Got caught up by lap traffic here and there. Thank you very much. But no, the start was going to be critical. I mean, we had to get in the lead. We watched races all week. You got a lead coming out of turn 1. And did everything we could to make sure that we did that. And after that, it was really up to the guys at Goodyear to make sure that everything held together, which, I mean, we were still turning probably times that would get us third on the grid at the end of the race. So unbelievable from everybody, from the crew, Honda, and especially the guys at Goodyear.
Well, congratulations to you, sir. You get one more lap around this racetrack. Enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Christopher Bovis, your winner of GT Lights today in that Honda Civic CRX. Huge accomplishment, and the emotion that our winners, many of them, have expressed here this weekend, just to me, part of the fun and part of the excitement of being part of these runoffs. Shadowin ends up second, Sargis third, another 20 seconds back. Huffaker and Chameleon, your top 5. Ward, Ziekert, Graham Fuller, Chris Copley from Connecticut, Charles Leonard in 10th spot in the 14. Your top 10 in GT Lights. The emotion of this is what makes it so much fun.
It is. You know, you saw as soon as the interview started, he'd get choked up, and his dad would be proud.
Yeah.
Did a great job. The Bovis name, his dad was a member of the SCCA. He was one of the governors for SCCA. Great guy. I raced him for many, many years. So it's awesome to see his kid come through and be that good.
Yeah, absolutely the case. So back downstairs, let's talk to another one of our top finishers. Here's Hayward.
Peter, last year I believe it was the top step. This year you have the silver medal. A great race for you here at Indy.
Yes, yes. We had a good week, even though with a few setbacks and a broken drive shaft where we couldn't run the last 2 days of qualifying. But yeah, still to finish second at Indy, it's an honor.
Turn 1 was a little hairy for you guys. What was your view like?
Well, my view was a bunch of smoke coming off the other Honda that was on the outside pole. Wasn't sure if I should be behind him or not because it looked like his engine was getting ready to go. So kind of at the last minute, just tucked to the inside and maybe gave up a position doing that, but stayed clear of a possible engine failure and not sure what all happened behind us.
Well, congratulations to you on the silver medal.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Peter Shadow, and again, another guy who's had a ton of success at these runoffs many times over the years, and happy to take home second here today.
Absolutely, and he's right about one thing. You see that smoke like that, you got to get away from it because it's, you know,
you don't want to get caught in it.
Something big's about to happen if it hasn't already.
Yeah, and we've had that on more than one occasion here in these SCCA National Championship runoffs for 2017, 54th renewal of this great event, the Olympics of amateur racing in this country. Back downstairs to Hayward.
Steve Sargis back to the podium at the runoffs. Congratulations on the bronze.
Thank you very much. It was tough.
It looked like there was, once everybody kind of got gapped, they were into their pace, but the first couple of laps, the first turn in particular, was pretty exciting for you guys.
Yeah, actually the first lap was kind of weird again. I've been watching races all week, and I was really concerned about being on the outside, third row, and going into one. So it's really, really cautious there, but we all seemed to make it. And then, but going in the back part, we all kind of bottleneck going, and I locked my brakes up and flat spotted my right front tire. But just weaved through the rest of the guys that I can pass and tried to catch Peter, but I couldn't.
Well, congratulations to you here, your 18th podium with SCCA runoffs.
I'm glad somebody keeps track. Thanks.
That's an awesome accomplishment right there in and of itself, no doubt about that. So we congratulate our top finishers, Chris Bovis, Peter Shadowan, Steve Sargis, the top three. Really, everybody who finished today, it's quite an accomplishment. But a wild one here, no question about it. Your outside pole starter in one of the Hondas, that was Ryan Christoph, who had problems on the start. The 45 car having trouble with apparently brake bias issue, Peter Ziekert, but he comes back for a top 10. Other drivers found this track very challenging in the course of the day.
Absolutely. New for everybody, but the pressure's on. You're here for the runoffs, and it is in.
Chris Bovis was perfect all day long in his 40-minute, 50-mile chase. Bovis in the 78 car from the pole goes flag to flag for the national championship in GT Lights. For Dorsey Schrader, Hayward Wagner, Jeff Leppard, Greg Creamer, our entire coverage crew here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, I'm Rick Benjamin. We congratulate Chris Bovis, our winner. Coming up, our break for lunch. We'll return with coverage this afternoon. We've got 4 more races to cover for you. We'll wrap up this 54th SCCA National Championship runoff. See you in just a bit.
Coverage of the SCCA National Championship runoffs is presented by Mazda. Driving matters.
Can you feel something without touching it? See something with your eyes closed. When everything is designed around you, the driver, you can. The Mazda 3.
Every stitch is a part of me. All these shapes and designs express our devotion to craftsmanship. I want people to feel our passion when they touch it and when they drive it.
The all-new Mazda CX-5.